I want to put a thesis to you, Toby, about what's been going on. Let's cast our minds back, say, about 18 months, when Control is still with us. Percy Allaline wants his job. Everyone knows that. But although Control is sick and past his prime, Percy can't dislodge him. It's a time of uneasiness in the circus. Morale is low, activity is low, yes?
I remember, George.
Well, Percy's door opens one day and one of our senior men walks in. We'll call him G'raald. Oh, it's just a name. And G'raald says, Percy, I've stumbled on a major source of Russian intelligence. It could be a gold mine. Perhaps they take a walk in the park or drive in a car, but whatever, Percy listens. Because what G'raald goes on to say is music in Percy's ears. Some of us, G'raald tells him, are worried sick about the state the circus has got into. I mean, look at our operational losses. Agents, networks. He's careful not to suggest there's a traitor inside the circus, but he emphasizes that slovenliness at the top is leading to failure all round. That is to say, it's all Control's fault. My thesis, you understand.
Sure, George.
Another notion is that Percy Allaline was his own G'raald, that he went out and bought himself a top Russian spy and manned his own boat from then on, but I don't believe that's what happened. I think he'd mess it up, don't you?
Sure, George.
So the next thing is for G'raald to say to Percy, I and a little group of like-minded friends want you to be our father figure, Percy. We are not political men. We don't know our way in the Whitehall jungle, but you do. Yes, well, G'raald says that if Percy will handle the committees, he and his friends will handle Merlin. Merlin being the Moscow intelligence source, and witchcraft the name of the material he supplies. And how well it all went. Merlin's material proved excellent, as everyone agreed, except Control. And eventually Control was out and Percy was king.
So what's new, George?
Ever bought a fake picture, Toby?
Sold a couple once.
The more you pay for it, the less inclined you are to doubt its authenticity. Merlin's price was 20,000 francs a month into a Swiss bank, according to the file. Oh, yes, Toby, this is official. There came the day when G'raald admitted Percy to the greatest secret of all, that the Merlin setup has a London end. Alexei Alexandrovich Polyakov, cultural attaché at the Russian embassy in London. You're on record as grading him Snow White, Toby, quite untainted with the mischief of espionage. In fact, he's Merlin's London representative. That's a start, I should tell you now, of a very clever knot. Now, everything to do with witchcraft is secret, of course, but inevitably a lot of people are involved. Transcribers, translators, codists, evaluators, God knows what. But when it comes to Polyakov, that's a different story. Who knows it? Only you, Roy Bland, Bill Hayden, and Percy. Three of you and Allaline. You're the magic circle. Who meets him, Toby? You all meet him. How's that? Percy represents the authoritarian side, asks after his wife, suggests it's time he took a little holiday. Very paternal Percy would be. Bill Hayden, I think, would see Polyakov much more often. Bill's a Russian expert, for one thing, and he's good entertainment value. I'd expect Bill to shine when it comes to the briefings and follow-up sessions, making sure the right messages went back to Moscow. Roy Bland's good on economics as well as being top man on the satellite countries, so he'd have plenty to chat about. Then there's you, Toby. You'd have your solo sessions with Polyakov because there's tradecraft to discuss and all those little snippets about goings-on inside the embassy, which are very much your field. And if the Magic Circle wanted Polyakov to do some photography inside the embassy, it would be you who would supply the film. Replenish his stock from time to time. Take him little sealed packets.
Listen, George. I know Polyakov works for Moscow Center. Of course I do. We all know. But come on. Think how many other operations we've run this way. We've bought Polyakov, right? He's a Moscow hood, but he's also our Joe. Now, he's got to pretend to his own people that he's spying on us. So we've got to give him one or two goodies now and again. Sure, I've passed him the odd sealed packet. Chicken feed. So he can send them home and Moscow Center clap him on the back and tell him he's a big man. It happens all the time. Now, come on, George. You know the game.
So are you Polyakov's agent inside the circus? Someone has to be. If Polyakov's cover for meeting you people is that he's spying on the circus, then he must have a man on the inside, mustn't he? And Polyakov can't report back to Moscow Center after he's picked up a great load of circus chicken feed and just say, I got this from the boys. He's got to have a whole history. How he selected his man, courted him, bought him, how they meet and where. The whole paraphernalia of running a double agent, and all this in Moscow Center's archives. You, Toby? Toby Esterhazy masquerades as a circus traitor in order to keep Polyakov in business. My hat, Toby. A dangerous job like that deserves a whole chestful of medals.
You're on a damn long road, George. What happens to you if you never reach the other end?
With Lakon and the minister behind me?
Why become the little guy? Why not go for the big ones? Percy Allerline, Bill Hayden.
Thought you were a big guy these days. You're the perfect choice, Toby. Resentful about slow promotion, sharp-witted, fond of money. With you as his agent, Polyakov has a cover story that really sits up and works. The big three give you the little sealed packets of chicken feed, and Moscow Center thinks you're all theirs. The only problem arises when it turns out you've been handing Polyakov the crown jewels and getting Russian chicken feed in return. If that's the case, Toby, you're going to need some good friends, like us. G'Gerald, of course, is a Russian mole, and he's pulled the circus inside out.